Coming up on Cereal at Midnight, we are talking about 1978's invasion of the Body Snatchers in the 4K Ultra HD formats from Kino Lorber Studio Classics. How does this release stack up to previous releases of this movie? What special features are included? Most importantly, how does it look in the 4K formats? All these questions will be answered coming up right after this. Guys, how are you? Welcome to Cereal at Midnight. My name is Heath, and we are talking about 1978's invasion of the Body Snatchers. What is there to say about this movie? It is a cult classic. It's sci-fi, it's horror, it's practical effects, it's everything that we love about a certain kind of genre movie. Kind of a remake, kind of not a remake. It's based on a 50s serialized story that was then adapted to a 50s movie directed by Don Siegel, who has a cameo in this movie. Themes of paranoia, in the original themes of losing that small town way of life, fear of losing your identity more than anything. They've updated those themes for the 1970s and taken it from a small rural setting to the big city. And I gotta tell you, it still resonates really well today because, of course, whatever the themes were in this movie, it's paranoia, right? It's after Watergate, it's after Vietnam. Doubt in leaders, thinking that we're always being watched, thinking that we are losing our individuality as we become just this thing, right? It's so timeless. It's remarkable how it's been, 43 years since this movie. And it still holds up really well. There's a lot of special features here that we're going to get into, but Donald Sutherland talks about how, it's more relevant than ever. This is the latest in a long line, what is becoming a long line of MGM catalog titles to get 4K editions from Kino Lorber. Good, the Bad, the Ugly, Spaceballs. This has HDR. It looks great. I don't want to bury the lead. As a 4K transfer, this looks great. What I look for in a 4K, this delivers. It's got really good grain structure. Every time I talk about grain, sometimes more than a few people say, yeah, I don't like the grain. You can't separate film from grain without there being consequences for that. Film is grain. Grain makes up the film image. You take away some of the grain, a lot of these studios now, not MGM, I should also say, Kino Lorber doesn't do their transfer. Kino Lorber is not an in-house transfer studio, right? These transfers are licensed. In this case, licensed from MGM. MGM made this transfer. So kudos to MGM for not doing what some of these other studios are doing and kind of smoothing it all over and making it look more modern and clean. I like that film look. I want it to look like I'm watching film projected. You can't separate film from grain without then you lose detail. That's the matter of the fact. You lose detail. Things start to get waxy. Then you got to come in and start sharpening it again. Just leave it alone. And that's what they've done. So I like this. The colors are good. Like I say, it's got HDR, so it's got that pop, that sizzle. It's got a lot of things that just look really good. It's not a bright. It's a fairly gray, drab movie. I think they even said they tried to homage the noir influences of the 50s film with this, but it does look really good. All the flesh tones look so good, and the scene where the pod people are born for the first time and we get to see that, that holds up. That holds up really well. Let's talk about the cast. It's Donald Sutherland, Brooke Adams, Leonard Nimoy, Jeff Goldblum, Veronica Cartwright. This thing is cast to the nines, right? Great cast. There's so much to love here. If you like this movie, I think you're really gonna be happy with this transfer. You get the movie on 4K and there's a Blu-ray included. Now I have read that moving forward, that when Kino Lorber releases something that Criterion has the rights for the Blu-rays, that Kino Lorber will not be including Blu-rays in the upcoming 4K releases. Like Silence of the Lambs just came out, right? Silence of the Lambs has a Criterion Collection Blu-ray. So moving forward, Kino Lorber, which kind of tells you Kino Lorber is going to be leaning into some stuff that Criterion has. So be advised that's coming. But they won't be doing Blu-ray and 4K. They'll only be doing 4K. But in this case, we have, by the way, alternate artwork here, right? Snazzy alternate artwork. In this case, we have the 4K disc and the Blu-ray disc. So It's the best, as Hannah Montana told us, it's the best of both worlds. Okay, so what special features are included? A lot of you guys have reached out to me and you've been like, well, I have the Shout Factory release version, or I have the Arrow video version. Do I double dip? So I'm going to hold this up, but we're going to go through these special features one by one because I've got notes. I took notes. I've got my screen here. You're even seeing this probably. So we have the audio commentary by director Philip Kaufman. That is on the 4K disc and the Blu-ray disc. We have an audio commentary by author film historian Steve Haberman. That is on both discs as well. The rest of the features are only on the Blu-ray disc. Star-Crossed in the Invasion, interview with actress Brooke Adams. That's from the Scream Factory Blu-ray. Recreating the Invasion, interview with screenwriter W.D. Richter. That's from the Scream Factory Blu-ray. Scoring the Invasion, interview with composer Denny Zeitlin, also from the Scream Factory release. Leading the Invasion, interview with actor Art Hindle, also from the... You're seeing the theme here, also from the Scream Factory release. Writing the Pod, interview with Jack Finney expert Jack Seabrook. That is not from the Scream Factory release. It's from the Arrow video release. The Arrow video release has a lot of stuff on it that is apparently, like, Arrow has retained those. I would assume Kino Lorber has to license these. So for the Scream Factory releases, I would assume they had to go to Scream Factory, Shout Factory, and license those to include those here. So the fact that they did that, that's nice. That makes me really happy that they are looking out for the fans that way. So we have that one extra from the Arrow video release as well. None of the other Arrow extras are here. The Arrow exclusives, I should say, because there's some overlap as well, as we're about to get into. Revisitors from Outer Space, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Pod. Also, Practical Magic, the Special Effects Pod. Also, The Man Behind the Scream, the Sound Effects Pod. Also, The Invasion Will Be Televised, the Cinematography Pod. All of those come from the MGM Blu-ray release from, I think it was 2011, I think is when that came out. So... for those of you, you know what, let me finish up really quick. We've also got our theatrical trailer, the TV spots, the radio spots. Scream Factory's release had a picture gallery. There's no picture gallery here, but everything else has been carried over. So, for those of you, let me just recap. The Scream Factory extras are ported over. An Arrow video extra is ported over. And the 4 features from the MGM Blu-ray from a decade ago, those have also been ported over. So... I think that is pretty fantastic. This is a safe bet for a lot of people. And of course, if you've never bought this movie before, or you don't own it in any HD formats, this is a no-brainer, man. I cannot recommend this to you enough. So that's going to do it. That's really the review. I am very pleased with this. I'm really happy to have added this to my collection and that it looks as good as it does and has the bonus added content as well. Because I love when a company like Kino Lorber can present the movie in the best possible format and also give us all the educational, preservational materials about why that movie matters in the first place. So we've got, so much extra content here. Hours and hours of content giving us context for why Invasion of the Body Snatchers remains enduring all these years later. I dig it. I'm really pleased with this. I can't wait to see what's coming next from Kino Lorber as far as did you guys see the announcement that Some Like It Hot is getting a 4K? Marilyn Monroe, Tony Curtis. Hey, you weren't expecting a Tony Curtis impression in the Invasion of the Body Snatchers review. Jack Lemmon, that's coming to 4K as well. Man, what an exciting time to be a fan of these movies and to see the blossoming of the 4K format. It's springing from the pod. We're watching the birth as it comes out of the pod and we'll grow into this. No, that's ominous, and it's actually a really good thing. So, guys, that's going to do it for this review. I'm going to put it... I should have said this at the beginning, but I have this a couple of weeks early as I'm recording this video. So hopefully you just got your first look at this. I'm going to put links to where you can purchase this in the description of this video. And if you click those, you'll be supporting Cereal at Midnight and getting something pretty groovy. So, guys, thank you so much. Take care. Until next time, here's where to go and what to do.